Imagine this, my friend. You're walking through life, feeling the weight of an unseen burden pressing down on your soul. Maybe it's a quiet ache, a whisper of doubt that keeps you up at night, wondering if there's more to this world than what you see. You're not alone. Right now, millions are stumbling in the dark, trapped in a spiritual fog they don't even recognize, and the truth, it's slipping through their fingers faster than they can grasp it. Welcome to Blessed Horizons. I'm here to tell you something shocking, something I saw with my own eyes when I stood face to face with Jesus himself. What he revealed about the deception choking this world will shake you to your core, but here's the promise. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll uncover a truth so powerful it can set your spirit free in an instant. This isn't just another story. It's a wake-up call straight from heaven. Now, before we dive in, I've got to say something real quick. I've noticed that many of you watching these videos haven't hit that subscribe button yet. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next on Blessed Horizons. Every week, we're bringing you revelations that could change your life, your faith, your eternity. So do me a favor. Pause right now, tap that subscribe button, and let's walk this journey together. You won't regret it. Ready? Let's step into this sacred truth together, because what I'm about to share isn't just for me, it's for you. Picture this, my dear friend. It was a day like any other, the sun rising soft and golden, spilling light into my ordinary life. I was just a woman going about my routine, sipping coffee, pulling on my work uniform, heading out to care for the elderly I loved so dearly. Their stories, their smiles, their quiet faith, they filled my heart every day. I'd listen to Mrs. Johnson chatter about her youth, or Mr. Ray hum his gospel tunes, and I'd think, this is what life's about, simple joys, serving others. But oh, how little I knew. That morning, October 3rd, 2023, started with a whisper of normalcy, yet by nightfall, everything I thought I understood about this world would shatter like glass under the weight of a divine encounter. Let me take you there. The rain was tapping lightly on my windshield as I drove home, weary from a long shift, but warmed by thoughts of my son waiting for his favorite cornbread. The radio hummed with gospel, lifting my spirit as I navigated the familiar road. Then, in an instant, chaos crashed into me, headlights blinding, a truck skidding wildly, the scream of metal against metal. My heart pounded, my hands gripped the wheel, but there was no escaping it. The collision stole my breath, my body, my very life, for a moment. But here's where the story turns, friend. When everything faded to black, I didn't just slip into nothingness. I stepped into something greater. Death wasn't the end. It was the doorway to a revelation so vast it still humbles me. And what Jesus showed me next, it's why I'm here talking to you, because he didn't just pull me back for my sake, he sent me back for yours. Now let's pause here, my friend, because what happened next isn't something you hear every day. It's a sacred moment that still sends shivers down my spine. When that truck hit me and the world went dark, I didn't feel the pain you'd expect. No, it was like stepping out of a heavy coat I'd worn too long. Suddenly, I was weightless, floating above the wreckage of my car. I could see it all, the twisted metal, the rain falling slow and glistening, the paramedics racing toward me, shouting my name. "Dorothy, stay with us!" they cried. But I wasn't in that broken body anymore. I was somewhere else, watching, feeling a peace I can't quite put into words. Then something or someone caught my eye. My mother, gone from this earth for 5 years, stood there by the ambulance, her face glowing with a calm I'd never seen in life. She didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. "You're not alone." That's when it hit me. I was dead. But before fear could take hold, a light appeared. Not the harsh glare of headlights, mind you, but a living, breathing light, warm, welcoming, pulling me in like a friend, calling me home. And then I heard his voice. "Dorothy, come." Oh, friend, I knew it was Jesus before I even saw him. That voice wasn't just sound. It was love. It was truth. It was everything my soul had been longing for without even knowing it. What he was about to show me would turn my world upside down. And trust me, it's something you need to hear too, because it's not just about where I went, but about where we're all headed if we don't open our eyes. Let me take you deeper now, dear friend, into a moment so holy I tremble just recalling it. As that living light drew me in, I wasn't afraid. I was home. The closer I got, the more I felt it. A love so pure it washed away every fear, every doubt I'd ever carried. Then, there he was, Jesus. I didn't need anyone to tell me who he was. My soul knew him the way a child knows its father. His presence was overwhelming, like standing before a fire that warms instead of burns. I fell to my knees, not out of force, but out of awe. His face, oh, it's beyond words, eyes like endless skies, holding wisdom and kindness that could melt the hardest heart. When he said, "Dorothy, rise," I stood, trembling, and his hand touched mine. In that instant, understanding flooded me like a river. What did I see? The world, not as we know it, but as he sees it. Pain, division, a darkness creeping over people who didn't even know they were trapped. I saw a battle, not with guns or swords, but with lies, spiritual lies wrapping around hearts and minds. Tears stung my eyes as I whispered, "Lord, what's happening?" His voice was steady, yet heavy with sorrow. "Come, Dorothy, there is something you must see." And just like that, we were moving, gliding through a tunnel of light alive with music, a harmony so perfect it felt like heaven itself was singing. The walls shimmered with images from my life, but seen through his eyes, every kind word I'd spoken, every quiet prayer I'd offered, they mattered. "Every choice has weight," he said, and I realized something humbling. Even in our smallest moments, God is watching, weaving it all into eternity. But oh, friend, what he showed me next wasn't just about my past, it was about our future, and it's a truth we can't afford to ignore. Hold on tight now, my friend, because this is where the journey takes a turn that still shakes me. The tunnel of light faded, and suddenly I was standing on a city street, but it wasn't any city I'd ever known. People moved silently, their eyes locked on glowing implants under their skin, living like shadows of themselves. Families sat together, but no one spoke. They just stared into nothing, guided by something unseen. My heart raced as I turned to Jesus. "What is this?" I asked. His face, so full of love, carried a deep sadness. "This is what comes next," he said, "if they do not wake up." I saw a world surrendering to convenience, trading freedom for chains disguised as progress, technology tying souls to a system they couldn't escape. Then he showed me something even more chilling. Pastors preaching from pulpits, calling these implants a gift from God, a tool for a better life. Christians lined up, trusting the world's wisdom over the Lord's. "Don't they see?" I cried. Jesus shook his head. "No, because they do not ask me." My spirit broke as I watched, people so eager to fit in, they didn't see the trap closing around them. Think about it, friend. How often do we rush to embrace what's new without pausing to seek God's voice? In Matthew 7:7, he promises, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find." But what happens when we stop asking? Jesus didn't leave me in despair, though. He pointed me toward a hope shimmering just beyond this darkness, a hope he wants you to grab hold of too. Now, friend, let's step into a truth so piercing it still echoes in my soul. The vision shifted again, and I saw people, black, white, every shade of God's beautiful creation, moving through life with walls between them they didn't even build. I saw black folks carrying wounds deep as generations, anger simmering from a past they didn't choose. I saw white folks wrestling with guilt and confusion, unsure how to heal what they didn't start. Then Jesus spoke, and his words cut through me like a sword. They are not each other's enemies. They are all my children. Oh, how my heart gasped. I saw it then clear as day. The division wasn't ours. It was a lie, whispered by the enemy to keep us blind. Through his eyes I watched dark forces twisting history, feeding resentment and shame to both sides. To some, the lie was, "You'll never be enough, hate them for it." To others, "You're forever guilty, prove you're not." But Jesus turned to me, urgent and tender. "There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, for you are all one in me." Galatians 3:28. The real battle isn't skin against skin. It's a spiritual war for our unity, our identity as God's people. Imagine if we stopped fighting each other and started fighting the lie instead. What could happen if you, right now, chose to love your neighbor, not as a color, but as a soul Jesus died for? That's the freedom he's calling us to, and it's closer than you think. Let's linger here a moment, my friend, because what Jesus revealed next is a wound we all carry, whether we know it or not. The vision widened, and I saw people wandering, lost, searching for meaning in a world that offered them scraps, jobs, phones, likes on a screen. They chased it all, but their eyes were empty. "My people have forgotten who they are," Jesus said, and his voice ached with love. I saw it then. The enemy hadn't just divided us by race. He'd stolen our very purpose. From the moment we're born, he whispers lies to make us doubt our worth, our calling, until we settle for a life far smaller than God intended. Then Jesus took me to a place, a vast hall glowing with souls yet to come, each one shimmering with divine potential. "Everyone is sent with a purpose," he said. But as they entered the world, the battle began. Some lifted by love, others crushed by pain, all tempted to forget why they're here. Think of Jeremiah 1:5. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." You're not an accident, friend. You're a masterpiece with a mission. What if today you asked God, "Lord, remind me who I am"? That simple prayer could spark a light in you the enemy can't snuff out. And oh, there are others already shining, warriors of truth, and they're closer to you than you might realize. Now, friend, brace yourself. This is where the veil lifts even further. The scene changed, and I stood in a city so grand it stole my breath. Towering screens, silent streets, people moving like machines. Their faces were blank, their spirits dulled, all tethered to implants glowing beneath their skin. Above them loomed a figure on massive holograms, charming and calm, promising peace while weaving chains. "This is the one they will follow," Jesus said, his voice heavy. "They'll trust him, not seeing the bondage until it's too late." My heart pounded as I saw it unfold, convenience turning to necessity, freedom traded for control, step by subtle step. I trembled and asked, "Lord, is this the mark?" He shook his head. "Not yet, but this is the path that leads there." I saw crowds lining up, eager for the next upgrade, blind to the spiritual stakes. Revelation 13:16 warns of a time when all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, will receive a mark. And here it was, starting with a whisper, not a shout. Friend, think about your life. How often do we say yes to what's easy without asking God first? Jesus looked at me with hope amid the sorrow. "Those who know my voice will not be deceived." That's you, if you're willing, because the truth isn't just a warning. It's a shield, and it's already in your hands if you'll take it. Let's step into this next moment together, friend, because it's where the stakes rise and the choice becomes clear. The city faded, and I found myself in an open field. The air still, Jesus beside me. "The world has forgotten the power of choice," he said, his voice both gentle and firm. Before me stretched two paths, one wide and smooth, crowded with people strolling toward a darkness they couldn't see. The other narrow, rough, but glowing with light at the end, Jesus waiting there, arms open. "Most choose the easy road," he said. "It asks nothing of them. But those who seek me take the harder way, and I guide them home." I saw it so vividly, people lured by comfort, not realizing they were walking into a trap. Matthew 7:13-14 hit me like a thunderbolt. Wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Friend, think about your day. Where are you saying yes to the easy path? What if, right now, you chose to pray, Lord, show me your way, even if it's hard? That's not weakness, that's courage. And as I stood there, Jesus showed me glimmers of hope, people already choosing that narrow road, lighting the way for others. And you could be one of them. Now, friend, let's draw near to the heartbeat of this journey, because what I saw next lit a fire in my soul. The field faded, and I was back in his presence, Jesus radiant and unshaken. There are those who are awake, he said, and suddenly I saw them, pockets of light breaking through the world's darkness. Ordinary folks, teachers, parents, workers, young dreamers, each one glowing with a strength not their own. These are my warriors, he told me, not with weapons, but with truth. I watched as their words broke chains, their prayers pushed back shadows, their faith stood firm. Against a tide of lies, tears welled up as I saw it. They weren't afraid. Even as the world pressed in, they clung to him. John 10:27 rang true. My sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. These weren't superheroes. They were you and me, choosing Jesus over comfort, truth over trends. Imagine this, friend. What if you spoke one honest word today, forgave someone, shared his love, stood for what's right? That's not small. That's a spark that could ignite a revolution. Jesus looked at me, his eyes blazing with purpose. Go back, Dorothy, tell them. And oh, how that call burns in me still, because you're part of this army if you'll just say yes. Let's wrap this sacred thread around us now, friend, because the moment came when I had to leave that holy place. I looked at Jesus, my heart breaking. Lord, I don't want to go. I want to stay with you. His smile was tender, but his eyes held a mission. Your time isn't finished, he said. They need to hear this before. It's too late. Then I felt it, a pull, sharp and strong, dragging me back from the light. Darkness swallowed me. Pain rushed in, and suddenly I was gasping, machines beeping, my family's tear-streaked faces hovering over me. I was alive, but oh, how heavy this body felt after tasting eternity. The hospital room buzzed with shock. Doctors had given up on me, but God hadn't. My sister clutched my hand, whispering, Dorothy, you're back. But inside I was reeling. Everything I'd seen burned in my spirit. The deception, the paths, the warriors. I tried to speak, my voice raspy. I have to tell them. They thought I was delirious, but I knew the truth. Psalm 118:17 flashed in my mind. I will not die but live, and will proclaim what the Lord has done. Friend, think about your life. Has God ever pulled you through something you couldn't explain? That's not chance, that's purpose. I came back with a mission, and it's not just mine, it's ours together, if you'll carry it too. Now, friend, let's walk into the aftermath, because coming back wasn't easy. It was a fight to be heard. Those first days in the hospital, I tried to share what I'd seen, Jesus, the deception, the call. But the words stumbled out weak, and the looks I got, skepticism, pity, even gentle warnings from my pastor to not stir folks up. My own sister thought it was the crash talking, not heaven. I felt like Noah building an ark while everyone laughed, alone with a truth too big to hold. But deep down, I knew I couldn't stay quiet. Jesus didn't bring me back to sit still. He sent me to shout, even if only a few would listen. Then something wild happened. I started seeing it unfold. News flickered with stories of implants for payments, churches praising tech as progress, just like in the vision. My heart raced. It wasn't a dream, it was a warning coming true. So I spoke to friends, strangers, anyone with ears. Some brushed me off, but others, their eyes lit up. They'd felt the shift too. God was already stirring hearts, and I wasn't alone after all. Think about it, friend. Have you noticed the world tilting, subtle but real? Luke 21:28 says, When these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads because your redemption is drawing near. The signs are here. What will you do with them? That's the question that keeps us moving forward. Let's bring this home now, friend, because this isn't just my story. It's yours too. Watching the world from my hospital bed, I saw the hardest truth of all. People I love choosing blindness over light. The enemy's deception isn't loud, it's sneaky, wrapped in comfort and logic, creeping closer every day. At first it's a convenience, an app, a chip, a better way. Then it's a must-have. And one day it'll be a demand. But Jesus showed me hope amid the storm. Those who know him won't be fooled. His voice cuts through the noise, steady and sure, calling us to stand firm. Here's the thing. You've got a choice right now. Strengthen your faith. Dig into prayer. Lean on his word like it's your lifeline, because it is. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers of this dark world. Start small. Tonight, kneel and ask, Lord, open my eyes. That's power the enemy can't touch. And when it gets tough, when the world calls you crazy, remember the warriors I saw shining bright. You're not alone. You're part of something bigger. Jesus has already won, friend. He's just waiting for you to pick your path. So what's it gonna be? That's the spark I'll leave you with as we close this journey together. And there it is, friend, a glimpse of eternity that changed me forever. And I pray it's stirring something in you too. Jesus didn't just show me the truth to keep it locked away. He sent it for you, to wake you up, to set you free, to call you home. So here's my question. What's one step you'll take today to hear his voice louder than the world's lies? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your heart, your story, because we're in this together. If this hit you deep, share it with someone who needs it. Don't let them miss this warning, this hope. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. Blessed Horizons is bringing more revelations like this, and you won't want to miss a single one. Up next, check out the hidden war you're already fighting. It'll be right there on your screen. Thanks for walking this path with me, friend. I'll see you soon. Stay blessed.